Writing is difficult. If you're watching this video, I don't need to tell you that. You've probably heard 3 other author tubers make the statement already, but it bears repeating. It's easy to forget the challenges writing can present, especially if you've had a run of good luck. But every writer is going to struggle at some point. One of the greatest challenges a writer can face is a writing slump, more popularly known as writer's block. Like the reading slump, a writing slump results in you not wanting to write, period. You try multiple times to start a new story or continue one you've begun, but that cursor just mocks you. Worse, when you do manage to write something, you come away dissatisfied and start over repeatedly. Sometimes we just get burned out, and in those cases, you do better to take a break and let your creative juices recharge. If you're tackling 3 jobs and an infant, it's valid to give your story a break. Forcing yourself to write will only result in a passionless story that you'll likely hate later and have to redo. However, if you're not burned out, if the desire to write is there but something seems to be lacking, there are at least 4 ways you can regain your creative drive. Again, if you have several responsibilities or are otherwise not in a privileged position, then stepping away from writing might be necessary. The problem might not be you, but life, and it's okay to let life have its way once in a while. On the other hand, if you're otherwise happy, don't have a severe medical issue, have hours of free time at your disposal, and are mostly responsibility-free, something else might be to blame, and these 4 methods are there to shake you out of your slump. Before we continue, I'm Riley and this is Otherworldly Fiction. On this channel, I rant about fantasy books, discuss characters and lore, share my bookish opinion, and offer the occasional writing advice. If that sounds like your cup of tea, hit that subscribe button. Posts are on Fridays. Writing can be hard, but it doesn't have to be. If your life seems chill and you're wanting to write but the words won't come, here are 4 tips that might break your writer's block. Method number 1, start a new story. You'll want to be cautious with this method. If you're someone who starts a new story every second week without finishing any of those you already had, then this method could worsen your slump rather than fix it, especially if you wish to publish something officially. If you're just writing as a hobby, then restarting isn't a big deal. Though if you have 20 unfinished stories on Wattpad, readers aren't going to thank you. That said, if you have committed to a project, if you're even several books into a series, stepping away is not only helpful, but common. Both Brandon Sanderson and Sarah J. Maas tackle multiple series at once. When Sarah J. Maas needs a break from ACOTAR, she can dive into her Crescent City series and vice versa. If Brandon Sanderson needs a break from the Stormlight archive, he can write a standalone like Tress of the Emerald Sea, just to change things up. It's up to you whether or not this new story will be set in the same universe as the one you're already working on. But even something that's a part of the same world can be refreshing, because you have the opportunity to explore new magic systems, a fresh conflict, and a brand new protagonist. There's a reason Marvel doesn't get bored. By continually introducing new heroes and conflicts, they'll never run out of ideas. Of course, if you are someone who has commitment issues, or you tend to lose interest in a story after a month or less, then another option is to write a short story. It doesn't have to be good, and you never have to publish it. But writing a short story forces you to return to the brass tacks of storytelling. You can't meander or go off on a tangent. You have one idea right now to tackle, and if you're especially fast, you might finish the story in one sitting or two. Sometimes you just need the dopamine rush of completing something, and a short story can provide that instant gratification. Moreover, if you choose to write within the same genre or theme, you might compile your stories into a collection and polish them until they're ready for publication. Granted, short story collections don't always sell well, unless they already have a major name attached to them, but at least you'll have something to share and market. Plus, short stories allow others to get a taste of your writing without any great commitment on your part or theirs. It's much easier, if you have a habit of getting lost in a novel, to build a library of smaller stories, though you'll still want to do your research if you're planning to publish, because short stories come with their own rules and challenges. As a result of being so short, people may even expect a short story to have a stronger plot or a cleverer concept than your average novel. A novel can be more cliché if you compensate with lengthy character development and witty banter, but you don't have that luxury with a short story. Number 2, read more. If there's one thing writers should be doing continually, it's reading. You don't have to read 100 books a year. And if your life is chaotic, I don't blame you for falling off the wagon. Nevertheless, most people have 15 minutes in a day that belong to them, especially during work breaks or before bed. If you have time to binge a whole season on Netflix in 2 days, then you have time to read. If you're regularly able to finish a video game, then again, you have the time. Some, as with writing, go by time or pages. Jenna Moresi has noted that she likes to read 25 pages of a book each night before going to sleep. My English teacher told us to aim for 15 minutes a day, and that should be manageable for most. You don't have to read a lot, but you should be reading something. Ideally, this will be a mixture of fiction and books on the craft itself. Admittedly, I haven't read as many craft books as I'd like, though I still read blogs or articles where I can. If you have the time, then reading more is always better. There's no such thing as reading too much if you're enjoying yourself, though for whatever reason, there will still be people who judge you if you read for 8 hours straight. Worse, there'll usually be someone who has spent 5 hours watching television and another 3 scrolling their phone. But I digress. If you have the time, set reading goals. Challenge yourself to read 15 books in a year, 50 books, 100 books, or if you're insane with tons of money and free time, 200. Read in your genre and read outside of it. Not only will books give you new ideas, but they'll get your brain working. I don't know what it is, but if I've gone more than 3 days without reading, my writing juices dry up. It's almost like I need to consume the words of others in order to spit them back out again onto the page. It's like every chapter I read fills a can in my brain, which is then emptied when I write. In other words, you are the car and books are your gas. If you're struggling to write, ask yourself when you last read. If it's been more than a week, you may have the solution to your problem already. As a quick aside, be sure to hit the like button if you're enjoying the video so far. Method number 3, consume other media. Reading is integral to writing. Nothing, no matter how beautifully written, can replace reading, but other media can certainly supplement it. So many of my writer friends were inspired by a video game or a favorite TV show, and that's valid. If playing Dragon Age makes you want to write because you were blown away by its intricate plot and developed characters, then that's awesome. Play video games more if they're inspiring you. Just remember to throw a book in there and allow one to supplement the other. Nothing shakes up life's monotony like discovering your new favorite TV show, whether it's the atmosphere, the twisting plot, or the characters. A well-done show, or one that appeals to our specific tastes, can get our creative juices flowing. Plus, it can add a little color to your day generally, which is always nice. As of the time of scripting this video, I have finished watching Wednesday and am almost finished the first season of Harley Quinn. I wasn't sure if I'd enjoy either show, though I am a nerd for all things fantastical. But I love a good anti-hero, especially a female anti-hero, and both of these shows ticked that box for me. If your hero is rude, jaded, eccentric, or prone to murder, which she may or may not feel bad about, I'm in. I'm still reading as voraciously as ever, but throwing in fresh shows has allowed me to think differently about characters, including the types of heroes people are open to seeing. And both shows have demonstrated how I might approach writing someone who is similarly troubled. As for video games, Dragon Age will always inspire me. All three games appeal to me depending on my mood, with the second game in particular matching the tone I hope to capture in my own writing, which is a mixture of witty banter, fluff, and the downright gruesome. Number 4. Look after yourself. Sometimes your lack of motivation or inability to write comes from a lack of self-care. This isn't to say you're falling apart, but even something small, if neglected, can leave you feeling run down. Some people might be in a reading slump because they're sleepy all the time, and it's the same for writing. I can tell you from experience that when I'm short on sleep several days in a row, even if it's not to an extreme degree, reading and writing can be a chore. In fact, I try not to review books when I'm sleep deprived, because being tired automatically lowers the quality, to my perception, of everything I encounter, be it the work of others or my own. When you're not sleeping, everything is just uglier somehow, and you're more likely to nitpick your work or hate what you're doing if lack of sleep has you in a bad headspace. Lack of sleep is probably the most common form of self-neglect, as well as the easiest to miss. But it's not the only one we overlook. Forgetting to eat or not taking the time to eat properly can also affect you. I know I don't eat healthy all the time, and I still feel fine most of the time, but that shit will eventually bite me in the ass when I'm older. The more birthdays you've had, the more you'll need to pay attention to what you're putting in your body. As you move into middle age, food has a marked effect on your mood. A lack of iron can leave you constantly sleepy, while excess weight can leave you drained or lacking in energy. If you're lethargic, even after adequate sleep, changing your eating habits and engaging in light exercise are the recommended methods for feeling better. You might not think these are impacting your writing, but they are impacting your mood. And it should go without saying that a shitty mood isn't conducive to creativity. While I still need to work on the exercise part, I have made some changes this year. First, along with my family, I started the intermittent fast. This means that I can only eat between 12 o'clock in the afternoon and 8 o'clock in the evening. But in that window, I can still eat crap. This means I can still enjoy milkshakes, chocolate bars, and ice cream, provided I don't go crazy with it. It doesn't sound like much, but this lifestyle change has cut out all those late night snacks. Now that I'm not eating a whole pound of Boursin before bed, I'm healthier overall. I've lost 19 pounds already, and again, while that might not sound like a lot, this is without any great effort or steady exercise. I've also become a pet sitter, so I am getting some exercise from walking the dogs in my care, though I acknowledge that I could still be getting more. The point is, you can make small changes in your life which will boost your health, and therefore your mood, which might in turn bring your creativity back. Since cutting out the evening junk food binges and practicing minimal exercise, I feel better. I'm more productive. I'm cranking out the videos you're watching right now. And I'm writing more than I ever have. Self-care might not turn your entire life around, but I can say from personal experience that it helps. Plus, you'll just feel better in general, and who doesn't want that? In conclusion, nobody likes writer's block, but it's something most writers will face at some point. If you're a primary caregiver or you're juggling 3 jobs, you might simply be burnt out, in which case stepping away from the keyboard may be necessary to recharge your batteries. However, if you're someone who doesn't have that many responsibilities, and you know you don't have a medical condition like depression, which should be addressed as soon as possible, there could be a simpler reason behind your lack of motivation, as well as a straightforward solution. Whether through trying something different, reading more, consuming story-based media, or simply looking after your health, there are multiple ways to regain your creative drive and beat writer's block. I can't guarantee every solution will work for every person, though I advocate for reading more regardless. But if you're stuck, experimenting with these 4 methods may be just what you need to get back on track. Is writer's block a problem for you? Have you tried any of the solutions on this list? Are there other activities you do which reignite your creativity? Sound off in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and happy writing!